Nice to see you all. A very warm welcome from Freie University. Dear Federica Mogherini, dear Joschka Fischer, dear trustees of Europaeum and representatives from the European member universities, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, liebe Kolleginnen und Kollegen. On behalf of the Executive Board for the inaugural Europaeum, I'm still learning, annual lecture. And what a fabulous crowd this is. I was really surprised and really happy to see you all here. It's obviously a topic of today, and it hits the nerve with our Berlin academic community. The title of Federica Mogherini's lecture today, The New Global Disorder, Europe's Future in a Fracturing World, would also be a perfect title to describe the time when Freie Universität was founded in 1948 as a powerful statement against the Stalinist culture that had taken over the old University of Berlin in the eastern part of town. So Freie Universität was founded at a time when the world was also extremely fractured. And a new post-war order came into existence, and when it was not clear at all how this new order would unfold and whether there would be ever a common future for Europe. From the very beginnings, Freie Universität had to carry quite a bit in terms of symbolic meaning. It symbolized the strong transatlantic friendship between the new Federal Republic of Germany and the United States, from where it got a lot of support. And it was quickly seen as the place where a new German generation was raised that took academic freedom and open and free discussions very seriously. In no time, we turned from the most pro-American university that hosted John F. Kennedy when he was visiting Berlin in 1963 into a place where US politics was criticized more strongly than anywhere else. But we stayed transatlantic. To the very day, there is no other university in Germany that has more student exchanges with US institutions than we do. And every day we have extremely strong reasons to the US partners and house the very successful John F. Kennedy Institute for North American Studies. But this university has had a European mission from the very start. Let me give you two examples. In November 1951, 3 years after the university's foundation, the Institute for East Europe opened its door here in Dahlem as one of the first institutions in this kind in West Germany. Establishing an institute for the study of Eastern Europe was a programmatic signal. The aim was to free such research from the spirit of national socialism, while also creating necessary expertise in the new Cold War situation. After 10 years, the OEI, how we call it, the Osteuropa Institute, had grown into one of the biggest research centers of its kind, with departments that range from Slavic studies, history, economics, to sociology and art history. The fall of the Iron Curtain posed the question whether an independent institute for East European studies was still necessary. Thankfully, a closure was aborted, and today the Osteuropa Institute, or OEI, is once again an international center for research into Eastern Europe, as well as Central Asia and the Caucasus. And with respect to the question that we want to discuss today, its expertise is probably more valuable and necessary than ever. Another example where the university was a European forerunner and also very successful is the Franco-German study programs. In the early 80s, a cooperation between the Otto Suhr Institute for Political Science and Sciences Po in Paris was started, and last year we celebrated 40 years of ever closer collaborations. The current programs, today it's a joint bachelor and a joint master program with Sciences Po, became role models for a lot of other Franco-German programs and for this type at our own university and in Germany. The question of how to cooperate with European partners got a new urgency over the last decade. The events in the Ukraine since 2014, the Brexit referendum in 2016, and the political shockwaves caused by the first and now the second Trump administration all showed that it is Europe's own interest to work even closer together. For universities, there are, of course, a lot of well-functioning and highly successful European support schemes. There's, for example, the fabulous Erasmus Plus program, the enormous support for joint research cooperations through Horizon, or the very attractive ERC grants, to name only a few. But in order to raise the European spirit within our institutions and among our academic community, one needs more than these, sometimes very bureaucratic schemes. This is one of the reasons why we joined the Europaeum in 2019. We wanted to offer talented and socially committed students new opportunities to develop their academic and professional qualities so that they would have a chance to become true Europeans or even European leaders one day. And all this within a network of first-class institutions all over the continent. We therefore feel very honored that the inauguration of this new annual Europaeum Lecture takes place today here in Berlin. I would love to tell you more about Freie Universität's European engagement. For example, I could talk about our other new European alliance, Una Europa, of which some of the partners are also here today. Welcome as well. Within Una Europa, we just graduated the first cohort of our highly successful Bachelor in European Studies, where 9 partner universities are involved. And I could also speak about the strong engagement for European values, for example, through hosting persecuted and risk scholars from all over the globe and through organizing quick support for Ukrainian colleagues after February 2022. But my task today is simply to welcome you. Therefore, I will stop now at this point and hand over to Andrew Graham, the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Europaeum. I wish you all a wonderful afternoon and interesting insights from 2 great and highly experienced speakers who helped to shape European politics over the last decades. And with this, I would like to hand over.
Good afternoon, everybody. I too tend to speak a little loud. Is that about all right or too much? It's okay. Fine. Good. Vice President, the fact that you began as very pro-transatlantic became equally able to criticize it. And that's what makes a very good university. So can maybe give the Vice President another. I would also just very quickly like to thank Fry and my colleagues in the Europaeum for putting this all together. There's a lot of work goes into making a lecture like this. So thanks to all of those. Thank you. As you already know, my name is Andrew Graham, and I'm the chair of the trustees of this slightly strange organization. And we have a branding problem, right? Everybody says European, and they think, oh, but you're not. but we're European but Latin. And we're actually in quite good company, because I didn't realize that you would provide me with sort of my photo props. Down here is the motto of Freie University in Latin. And what are the three things it stands for? It stands for Veritas, Justitia, and Libertas. Think about those things. In today's world, they're not. But you may wonder, what does this strange Latin-sounding organization actually do? What we do is we bring, it's easier to explain it, the intellectual shift. Because in academia, almost everything is centrifugal. If you're a physicist, you start with the conservation of energy and work outwards. I'm an economist, and you start with these silly assumptions about rational utility maximization. Nobody does any of those things, but economists study them. But it's a stupid thing. Never mind, I'm an economist. I'm allowed to be rude about them. But you take these narrow, you take a policy problem, immigration, the aging population, taxation problem. It's centripetal. You've got to bring the things in. You've got to bring the disciplines together. And so that's what we in the Europaeum focus on doing. We bring people from different cultures, different countries, different universities, and different disciplines, and make them think about policy. And this is quite a shock for some of them, and quite exciting, we hope. We were in Brussels a fortnight ago, and one of our former scholars, who's now ranked number 4 in the Portuguese government, gave a talk. And cut to the chase. He basically said that what he'd learned through being in the Europaeum wasn't the outputs, the sort of projects. Through being in the Europaeum wasn't the outputs, the sort of projects. But what he learned was the process of listening to people and listening to people with whom he disagreed. And above all, learning that compromise is not a dirty word, but sometimes the only peaceful option. And if we in the Europaeum can help do more of that in Europe, we will be very...
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tanja Börzel. I'm Professor of Political Science at the Otto Institute of Freie Universität. My area of expertise is the European Union, and I'm also director of the Cluster of Excellent Contestations of the Liberal Script. So I am enormously pleased to introduce very briefly the theme of today's events, and most importantly, the two eminent speakers we have. And my first task as the role of moderator is to remind you that this we have. And my first task as the role of moderator is to remind you that this event is recorded the whole time, right? Okay, check. Next, global disorder, Europe's future in a fracturing world. The situation of Freie Universität, when it was established, as Vice President Knaus reminded us of, it has also the potential to spark a real debate. Also because it is formulated as a statement in which I would like to reformulate as 2 questions. First, are we really facing global disorder? It's true that the current global order, many refer to as a liberal international order as it was established after the Second War, is under enormous pressure. But it's not the first time, right? We've seen unfriendly global powers. We've faced slow economic growth. We have even faced military conflict on our doorstep. So this is not the first time. And still, it seems there is something happening to the globalist order, but one may wonder, to rephrase Mark Twain, whether the report of the death of the global order is a bit premature. Question mark. Secondly, to what extent are the challenges the global order are facing really new, right? I mean, as I said, we have seen a lot of the things happening today before. And so I would really like to tease out a little bit whether you think, to what extent you think there is a new quality to the challenges Europe and the European Union are facing, and to what extent we are actually prepared to cope with these challenges. So these are the two major questions, and I cannot think of two better speakers than Federica Mogherini and Joschka Fischer to discuss these issues. Both are very eminent personalities, and there's just no way that I could do justice to their very impressive CVs, also because we're already running 10 minutes late. What I will do is I will take three commonalities I spotted in their CVs, and again, this is just a tiny bit of their very impressive resumes. So the first thing you already know, right? I mean, Federica Mogherini was the European Union's High Representative of Foreign Affairs and Security Policy and Vice President of the European Commission in the Jean-Claude Juncker's Commission from 2014 to 2019. Before that, Joschka Fischer, she was Foreign Minister of Italy in the cabinet of Matteo Renzi. Very briefly, but she was Foreign Minister. And you know, of course, that Joschka Fischer was not only Foreign Minister, but also Vice Chancellor in the Red-Green coalition from 2000. Now, let me see that I really get this correct, that I don't tell you wrong numbers here, from 1998 to 2005. Second, while serving in still struggling with the rise of aggressive nationalism as a threat to the European security order, which